I bought some land including a house on a corner lot across from a school. There's a public park on the property which I also inherited. As far as I'm aware, this park has been open to the public for a couple of decades. I'm not super familiar as I'm relatively new to this town. It's one of 3 parks and obviously it's heavily used due to the closeness of an elementary school. My lawyer says it's an easement, meaning the public is free to use it out of habit/tradition, yet it remains my responsibility. I guess the prior owner maintained it with some help from the town through the mayor's office and volunteers. The prior owner was a developer/philanthropist who did a lot of the small town. I don't like this because it opens me up to liability. I've asked the mayor's office if they'd like to hire surveyors to redraw property lines and consider it public property rather than my property, for free no less, and they've refused. They don't want the liability or the cost of hiring workers and lawyers to make it happen. Putting up signage or fences haven't really worked, so I want to uproot it all and just make it lawn. Before this, when I had signage up, some of the parents of students at the school started a petition to save their park, not knowing it's privately owned and not part of the town's public spaces. Trying to reason with some of them fell on deaf ears. Would I be the asshole? Still working it out legally with my lawyer, else I'd have posted this on r/legal advice. I'm looking for moral/ethical opinions on whether I should or not. I just don't want a kid to get hurt. Parents go to the mayor sends them to me. Well, my niece, Kara, my brother's daughter, is definitely not fat. She's the skinny, athletic kind. She's also the sort who is quick to blame everything on a person's weight and their weight on what they eat. After years of Kara bullying my sister and blaming all of my sister's problems on her weight, my sister finally caved in. 3 years ago, she lost 100 pounds. 2 years ago, she lost 50. Last year, she had surgery to remove the excess skin. This year, she's been training for almost an hour a day, even though she eats like a rabbit. The thing is, though, all my family can talk about is how good she looks now, how much better she looks now. And even the ones who don't talk about her being better looking keep talking about how much healthier she is. It makes me really uncomfortable when they talk like this because my sister and I were always about the same size, so if she looks better, then the rest of us have to look worse in comparison. I told my family this and asked them to stop, but they just laughed me off and told me to stop making everything about me. So this happened last night. We were at a friend's house for a party, and one of the guys decided to leave early. On his way out he figured he would pull a prank on us by putting one of each of our shoes on the parents' vehicle. Well, the parents left, with the shoes still on the car. When I decide to leave, I go to find just one of my shoes there. We looked everywhere for our other shoes, but it was dark, and they're now probably in a ditch somewhere. Well, my friends and I were pretty pissed. I'm a university student, and can't afford new shoes, and I don't think I should have to pay for it. These are the only casual shoes that I have, so now I'm stuck without shoes. Anyways, I'm arguing that this guy should pay for our new shoes, because it isn't our fault that we are now all down a pair of shoes. So we called him, and he wouldn't pick up, declining all our calls. Obviously he knew he messed up. Later, after we had given up searching, he finally called to say he was sorry, and was crying, which I don't buy for a young adult, and doesn't want to buy us new shoes. What's more, his older sister says I am cyberbullying him because of mean messages I'm sending him, but I haven't made any contact with him, I don't text him and I don't have social media, and so he's just crying to his family to get out of buying new shoes. Throw away because girlfriend uses Reddit. Mobile. Okay, so I work in construction and I get paid by the hour/OT I work. I normally get around 3.5-4K a week, and my girlfriend doesn't work because I make enough to support us both. But this week we had a lot of rainouts, couldn't work, so my check was damn near cut in half. Our bills are set up so we can pay bills, get groceries, gas, etc., and still have about 2K left over, so we put 1K in savings for emergencies and the other 1K is basically spending money. But this week my check was really short, so we had to pull money from saving to pay the bills. And just to fuck my week up more, my truck decides to fuck up and the part cost about $400. So I text my girlfriend saying I'm stopping by mechanic on the way home to fix truck, gonna need to pull about $400 from savings. She then responds with, can that wait? We don't have enough to spend $400. I shrug it off and think it can probably wait until next week. Then I get a bank notification about a $800 sewing machine. So I immediately text girlfriend about a $800 fucking sewing machine and she says I needed it. Now to clarify, she doesn't have a job, she doesn't need a sewing machine, her friend sews for fun and my girlfriend has always wanted one. Fast forward to me getting home and an argument starts about me saying a sewing machine could have waited. Long story short, she went to her sister's for the night. And I got a bunch of text from her sister saying how dare you treat her like that. So am I the asshole? For thinking a sewing machine could wait until we had extra throwing away money. So this has nothing to do with my relationship in general, as it is great, but about eating habits. So I am more or less a hobby cook and I am originally from Europe. As a result, I cook a lot of food from my home countries. Mom is Greek, Dad is Austrian, and I try new stuff quite often. As an example, I worked at a Korean restaurant in the past and the owner taught me recipes, and I frequent cooking sites and own a crapton of cookbooks, etc. As a result, I like to try a lot of different foods and try a lot of different tastes, spicy, sweet, sour, etc. My girlfriend, on the other hand, only really eats local food or fast food, which is fine by me. The issue is she wants/likes me to cook her food, which I did for a good while, but she basically likes nothing and tries nothing new, which results in me having to cook bland stuff and trying nothing new unless I cook myself different food on top of cooking her food, which is not an option because I work full time. Now I also got a bunch of new friends and I have taken up inviting them over to cook for them twice a month or so I can try my hand at new stuff, and having them enjoy my cooking makes me happy. Well, of course my girlfriend is generally there too, and where everyone likes it most of the time, she pretty much takes half a bite and orders takeout later in the evening. So I stopped cooking for her and now just make my own food and let her make whatever she wants, which is pissing her off as she can't cook, so complains about having to get takeout or getting tired of just eating mac and cheese and such, whereas previously I would cook full meals for the both of us. Now I tried to meet her in the middle and make extra of what I am having, but she rarely eats it unless it is something like a burger. I made a spicy stir fry yesterday and she would not even try it, leaving me with a heap of leftovers. Luckily my neighbor likes my cooking. Thing is, I am done meeting in the middle and I don't get why she is mad about it anyways, since she won't eat what I cook anyways unless it is tailored to her tastes. But she is adamant about being angry, as she says I should make stuff we both enjoy. Now I would be fine with that, if it was not for the fact she is the pickiest eater ever. So am I just being a douche here? My mother liked to collect art during her lifetime. Most of it was not extremely valuable, $5,000 or less. However, her prized possession was a pair of man/woman glass statues that ended up being appraised at $80,000 for the pair. My mother left me the man and my sister the woman statue. My sister wanted to auction the pair and split the amount we make. However, I really loved these statues and didn't want to sell them. After much arguing, I refused to sell and my sister decided to sell the woman statue. Because the works are meant to be a pair, the sole woman statue was appraised at $9,000. I bought it at auction for $13,000. My sister is extremely angry as I now have both statues worth a total $80,000 and says that I should have had to pay $40,000 for the statue if I wanted both. These statues were the only things that were specifically given to us. The rest of her estate was just to be divided evenly between me and my sister. My sister says that I violated the spirit of my mom's will by managing to get my hands on the statue set. Although my parents lived well during their lives, expensive end-of-life care options for my dad and later my mom resulted in the house being mortgaged. After selling the art, except the statues, my sister and I ended up getting about $30,000 each. If you take the statues into account, she ended up getting $43,000 and I ended up getting $27,000 in a set of statues worth $80,000. So, I did end up with the lion's share of the inheritance. But I say that it was divided evenly and the purchase of the woman statue was done completely apart from our inheritance. Am I the asshole? I'm 3/4F, and for the last 14 years, ever since Mum passed, I've hosted family Christmases. My dad and brothers have always come to my place to celebrate. They arrive on Christmas Eve, they stay over and the next morning we go to church, open presents, and I make Christmas dinner for everyone. My husband helps with the Christmas dinner but most of the time it's just me and my brother's partners in the kitchen. Everyone leaves on Boxing Day, after a lunch of leftovers. My husband and I recently adopted 2 kids, biological siblings. The kids are 12 and 14 so they don't need constant supervision the way a baby or toddler would. We have the time, energy, space, and finances to host Christmas again this year, which my brothers don't, but my father does. However, this is our first Christmas as a family, me, husband, 2 kids, and we were thinking this year we could do some stuff as a family unit, rather than involving my extended family. I told my dad and brothers this and they're all mad at me. They say I've not given them enough time, I told them yesterday, and that none of them know how to cook a Christmas dinner, and they're upset that I'm excluding them from the holidays, their words, now I have kids. They said they're looking forward to celebrating as a family and I'm ruining that. Am I the asshole? Long story short, I'm 17 and pregnant. The pregnancy has been mentally very hard, and I'm exhausted. The father, ex, and I have chosen for adoption. My family is very against it. They don't want us to give her up at all and it's been the cause for like many fights. We've thought really long about the adoption and though we struggle with it, we know 100% it's what is best for this baby. When I have to give birth, I'd prefer that no one is with me, apart from medical people of course. None of my family, none of his, and actually not even him. He asked me if he could be there, though he's not sure yet he wants to be, and I told him in all honesty that he can be, though I'd prefer to be alone as it's gonna be such a hard thing for both us already. But if he wants to be there, he can be. I'm not gonna stop him. My parents and especially mom are extreme upset and say it's a selfish thing that I don't want my mom there. Like I'm taking away their only opportunity to meet and hold this baby etc. That they want to be there for her birth if they can't be there for anything else. Would I be the asshole if I refused to have them there, even though we giving up the baby?